scared of nothing and I'm scared to death. I can't breathe and I catch my breath, but I keep chasing that same old devil down the same old dead-end highway. Ain't no love in Oklahoma, just the whistle of a long black train. You'll know when it's coming for you, riding in on the wind and rain.
What is up, Rio Hondo Prep football fans? Welcome back to the regular season as the Rio Hondo Prep Cares are ready for league play, the final hurdle, if you will, for the 2024 regular season. League games with Viewpoint High School and Brentwood High School in the Gold Coast League action. And if you can already tell, that is only two teams that I listed because there is no longer a third, meaning there is, or a fourth, I should say. It is a three-team league, as we've been well aware of for the entire offseason and in the season. And so there is one playoff spot automatically available, we'll say, between these three schools. And we've been fired up all season about the season opener, the various long road trips we've had, the close games with Torrance, and the trip up north, and the rivalries with Pasadena Poly. We've had a lot of great things happen throughout this season, but now it's time after the break, after the bye week, to kick it up a notch. There's only two games potentially remaining on this schedule, and I know everyone's been shown such great support all season long. It's time for those who haven't made it out to a game to get to a game. It's time for those that missed a couple. All right, let's get back here. Let's cheer this team on. Let's get in playoff mode, because honestly, we're right there with these two games. If you drop one, two of them, no brainer, you're out of the playoffs. You lose one, you're still likely out of the playoffs. So it's one game at a time, but with only one automatic berth from the Gold Coast League. Both these games going forward are pretty much playoff atmosphere, playoff mindset. So you got to handle business, and you can't look past one of these teams. Viewpoint, the first team you're going to play for homecoming this week. If you look past them, the Brentwood game won't matter. So I know everyone is chomping at the bit to get to that Brentwood game, the big matchup, the game of the year, if you will. We've had a few of those already, but Viewpoint is coming to Kare Park in Irwindale for our homecoming game, which, a few years ago we had a homecoming game canceled. We've lost some homecoming games in the past, maybe with distractions going on or whatever. I know I lost a homecoming game. It was no fun. But it's supposed to be a fun-filled evening with a lot of different Care Youth League kids. I know the girls perform at halftime, a big night for the high school young ladies as well. But it's homecoming, man. It's time to defend your turf. We've been on the road a lot, and two home games to close out the year in week 8 and week 9. It's a magical, beautiful thing. And I hope to see a lot of you guys out there at homecoming. If you're going to come to a game, it'd be nice if you came to both and then just got into that playoff mode, right? Where hopefully we have 4, dare I say 6 games potentially remaining, but none of those are guaranteed. It's a win and survive and advance kind of situation from here on out. And we've talked about Brentwood, and we'll cover them, of course, next week because that's the big game on the calendar. But first things first, in the Viewpoint Patriots. And I know typically in previous years, maybe Viewpoint, okay, nothing to get too excited about. But I will tell you right now, Viewpoint has a 5-2 record. They had the same bye week that we did this last week. So they have been preparing and planning, game planning, if you will, for Rio Hondo for 2 weeks. And quite honestly, they're the type of program when they know they're going to play Rio, they've gotten better at kind of the competition with us each and every year and knowing what we do. We've seen with Torrance and Kings Academy, if you play Rio multiple times in a couple of years, that they take notes. They take notes and try to take things away that maybe Rio does well. So you better come into this game, Rio fans, Rio players, Rio coaches, ready to attack, ready to go after the Patriots, because they're coming for you. They're coming for Rio Hondo Prep. The way they see it, hey, if they win 2 games, they're in the playoffs as well. And if not, if they drop one, They still could possibly get in the playoffs with a 3-loss at large. We can't hold on to those things. We have to handle business. So all three of these teams are hungry for the playoffs. I'm not even going to mention Brentwood's record right now because it's not Brentwood time yet. It is Viewpoint time. So I want the Cares and I implore them, focus on this game first. Focus on homecoming, not homecoming, the festivities and everything. There'll be plenty of distractions. It's football time. It's football time. The other stuff, the festivities, the whatever's going on, the banquet wise and all that, that will happen in due time. But you got to handle business first, because if you lose focus, you may not lose a game, but you could possibly hurt yourself. You could possibly put a teammate, in a bad situation or something. And we don't want those things. I know it's hard, guys. You guys have been focused all year and really played hard and I have no doubt this team's going to continue to play hard, but no overlooking anybody. We're not doing that. Not at this point of the season. I know we've had some blowouts, but those are in the past. And from here on out, it's league play. It's playoff time. It's time to lock in, get focused, minimize mistakes. And as far as the fans go, hey, it's time for all of us to step up. It's time for all of us to, like I said, get to a game if you haven't already. It's time for us to get to games maybe a little early if we haven't done so already. Get vocal. Let's warm up those vocal cords. Let's go. It's playoff time. I know it's a few weeks away, but it's playoff time now. That's the way I want to encourage everybody to go into this week. We had the nice bye week last week. Hopefully everyone's well rested, and the boys got a break too, going to science camp, and have had a good week of practice. But it is playoff time already here in the middle of October, we'll say. So let's lock in, guys. Let's lock in. And happy homecoming to everyone. I hope we see a lot of people out there at Kare Park in Irwindale, because it's always fun for the homecoming to see the very large crowds, the good food and festivities in the environment. It's just a blast. So this is a wonderful time of year. So I got my hockey shirt on, my LA Kings there. They're starting up and everything. I actually I'll be at a few games this year, which I'm really excited about. But you got hockey starting, the NBA starting, if that's your thing. Major League Baseball playoffs. Come on. How is that not exciting? It's great having it during the week too. And then of course, NFL and college football. It's still early, we'll say, but a lot of teams' hopes are kind of going by the wayside at this point of the season too. So just one of my favorite months. I'm not a huge Halloween guy, but that's around the corner. It's just kind of the changing of the leaves and the weather, and just man, it's everything starts and is going at the same time with baseball and hockey and football and basketball. So let's enjoy this time of year, and I can't think of any better way to enjoy this time of year and to embrace it all than to really get behind the Rio Hondo Prep football team. I got to say thank you again to everyone who made the trip up to Northern California a couple weeks ago. Fantastic turnout. I didn't expect anything less from you guys, but Rio Hondo, man, hopefully we get some home games if we're fortunate to get to the playoffs. And I don't want to look too far ahead. Let's focus on the home games for now. 2 home games in a row. First things first, Friday night at Kare Park in Irwindale, homecoming game. Let's come on. Let's bring everyone home, if you will, and really make a good showing for the boys as they exit that locker room and hit that field and be like, yeah, it's homecoming. It just feels a little bit different. I'm going to talk about the Viewpoint Patriots and maybe a quick little rules segment like I usually do. But I'm going to flip things around here on the podcast as I have our guest currently waiting for me. So I want to get to him first. So stick around. I know a lot of times I ramble in the intro here and go 15, even 20 minutes sometimes. So I want to let's get to the guest, if we will, so that if you're tuning in just to hear him, which I totally understand, that we get to that sooner rather than later. And then after the interview with him, I will again come back to break down kind of the record and the scores from the Viewpoint games, and maybe a brief little rules segment as well. But today on the podcast, I have not mentioned his name yet. We are going to be joined by Ryan Wiley, a proud member of the class of 2013, incredible athlete back in the day and probably still is. He is someone that was not just on 2 football championship teams in 2011 and 2012. He was a very tall, lengthy wide receiver on that team, a deep ball threat for sure. Contributed greatly to both of those championship teams there in 2011 and 2012. But then, wouldn't you know it, in the fall, or the winter, I should say, of 2013, as we turn the calendar to basketball season, he then led Rio Hondo Prep to their first ever CIF Southern Section Basketball Championship. It was a morning game over there at Modern Day High School. I remember it well. And Ryan was hands down the best basketball player on the team, was our leading scorer. Again, tall guy that could get to the basket, that could shoot, and very talented guy. So I know we've talked about some different sports here on the podcast, with Mike Whiteside and, talking to Matt Hetty about baseball, because I think it's fitting. It suit it. We talked to Evan Four earlier in the year about his baseball championship. It's all the same stuff, right? Everything is kind of football based, but it's nice when we're successful in other sports as well. So we'll talk to Ryan about football, about basketball, not just at Rio, but Ryan then did later on play college basketball here locally, and then a few states away out in Oklahoma. So we'll get to all that and kind of what he's been up to the past few years, since it's hard to believe, man. It's been 11 years since that basketball championship, but his name is on three banners there in the Stivers Center. So an incredibly great athlete, comes from a great family, the Wiley family. His brother Jason was a phenomenal athlete as well. I believe he's fighting fires these days. We'll try to ask Ryan about that. A connection to the Clark family. I know Paul Clark, Pete Clark, very proud of these guys, the Wileys, and for what they've done in their athletic career too. So we'll get to all of it. Let's dive right into it and bring him on to chat just about Rio football, his basketball career. And, like we always do, just have a fun conversation here with a member of the alumni. I know his time is limited, as is mine, so we want to jump right into it. And again, after the interview, I'll have some more information for you guys regarding Viewpoint. And I don't know if I'll have any information regarding the homecoming game or events or anything like that yet, but I will definitely post all that stuff as I become aware of them on social media. So keep an eye out for that. All right, before we get to Viewpoint and some rules and things, let's bring on our featured guests of the evening for the Week 8 pregame show from the class of 2013, Ryan Wiley. All right, joining us is Ryan Wiley, a proud member of the class of 2013, a young man who led Rio Hondo to the first ever basketball championship, and he was on a couple of football championship games as well. Ryan, what's up, man? I know you're coming to us from Temecula. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Yeah, Matt, no problem. Thanks for having me. Yeah, living out in Temecula. It's kind of a trend with the class of 2013 moving out this way. We got a few guys in San Diego. We got Christian Tirico over in Temecula here too. So yeah, we're liking life out here.
Nice. So the two of the great Rio wide receivers down there in the Temecula area from that 2012 team. That's pretty cool. You lined up far apart on the field from each other, but then decided, well, let's move closer together.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Before I got started talking or started thinking about today's show, I was like, Wiley was a big time receiver. And then, man, Christian Tirico on the other end, Hogan at the tight end position, I think. I'm like, man, what a trio of dudes as wide receivers. No wonder Colby Rivera is the all-time passing leader. He had you three guys to throw to.
Yeah, that definitely helped. Colby was a beast though too.
Colby was a beast, 3-year quarterback playing linebacker. I remember you, Ryan, obviously, because you're the tallest dude out there on the field in football and basketball. How tall were you when you played in high school?
In high school, I was 6'6". I grew one more inch when I got to college, so that helped me a little bit. That's citrus.
That is wild, man. That is crazy. I remember you were that, threat on the fade. I think when you even caught a fade pass for like a 2-pointer, maybe in the championship game.
Yeah, I did in the championship game. See,
I got all these memories up there, man. And then Tirico made some catches that year, dude, that were just like, how did he hold on to that? That's why I remember you guys catching the ball.
We talk about that all the time. Colby will throw it up to Christian, and then the ball will just end up in Christian's hand after it deflects off a helmet.
Yeah. And then you would talk about Hogan. You get the ball in his hands in the open space, the ultimate like yards after catch guy. Oh my goodness. I'm like, and then that was the passing game for you guys. Not to mention the great running game you guys had. And then here you go, Nate. One of the greatest running backs in real history. I mean, Zach Stiver, incredible offensive lineman. You had some dudes on those teams you had in 2011 and 2012.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely special.
And I know football wasn't your favorite sport, maybe because basketball has always been your thing. And heck, if you're 6'6", yeah, it would probably be my thing too. But going out there, you guys were in a special era at Rio at the time. We won a championship in '08. We lost in '09. And then you guys came along in 2011 there. What do you remember kind of? I'll ask you about the 2011 season first, kind of going in there. I think there was a playoff exit the year before. Was there kind of this like deep desire, like, hey, it's time to win another championship at Rio?
Oh, for sure. I mean, yes, definitely win another championship at Rio. That's always the expectation there. And I was I feel like we were all pretty like I think we knew we had the team to do it. They had a lot of experience. I mean, we had Colby and Jake who had already been on the varsity team their sophomore year, along with some other guys, and then Alex Tycho, he was a great running back, just like his brother. So we had a lot of the same pieces, and I think we just going into our senior year, we just were even better because it's pretty much the same team.
It was scary to think, yeah, you guys were all coming back, your next year, a special group, of course. But what was interesting about the 2011 team, kind of a blowout win in that championship game, if I remember. So we were excited more than anything for the next year. It's like, all right, it's on 2012. And all summer long, there was this build up to the start of that season for one specific reason. This crazy defensive coordinator of ours, Mark Carson, was kind of pushing for us to play some bigger schools. And at that time, you guys opened the season at Arcadia, not Arcadia Prep or Arcadia High School,
Yep.
which was a huge deal. Do you remember about getting the news about that game in the summer and being like, all right, here we go?
Oh, I was so excited. One of their best players, Jordan Stellar, and he was one of my best friends. So I grew up with him in Care Youth League. So to play against him in Friday Night Lights in high school was very special, along with some other guys I knew on the team. But I think we were pretty confident going into the game. I mean, we were nervous a little bit, but I think we kind of knew like we could beat those guys, which we
Yeah.
did.
Well, you didn't just beat them. It wasn't even close. I wasn't
Yeah.
at the game, but I saw the video later and was looking at updates on my phone. I'm like, no way. No
Yeah.
way. Because you know how it was, Ryan, for years, and even watching some relatives, I'm sure, playing things like there was always this, Rio Hondo Prep could never play with like the local big schools. And
Mhm.
you guys were among the first guys to really take on a rather large, pretty good program, a large public school. So you guys had the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you guys went out there and dominated that night. How fun was that game?
Oh, it was so fun. I do wish because Arcadia they kind of packed their house sometimes, but we were playing them in August, so it wasn't too much of a crowd. I'm pretty sure we had more people than they did, but it was awesome. It would have just been dope if it was like, packed out crowd type of thing.
Yeah. And you know what, man? Usually when you schedule teams, you're supposed to be a 2-year deal, their place, our place. Well,
Right.
we didn't get a phone call back after that game. So that shows how
Yeah.
bad you guys beat them up.
There were some haters. I went to scout them the week before they played some team, and one of their assistant coaches saw me and like walked over and was like, "You guys aren't ready for this." And then I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
okay." It was actually
oh.
Miles Carr's dad. You remember him?
Oh, we're not ready for this. And I hope in typical Rio fashion, you guys are just like, all right,
Oh yeah. I was like, okay.
yep, no problem. You talk, I got, guys talk so much sometimes. And I'll be honest, there's times I've talked back too, but it's just like the Rio way. You're just like, all right, thank you
Yeah,
for that. Here we go.
100%. That's all I need. I just needed that little extra
Little more, man. Oh, that game was legendary. And a tale kind of a I don't know, a preview of things to come, um, with like the Charter Oak win a few years ago, which was again epic, and in the playoffs, like
No, that
uh,
good.
beating Charter Oak, beating Arroyo, beating all these like schools. It was always talked about as a dream, and then we started to, in your era, start to see these things come true.
Yeah.
And again, 2012, we can't talk about the Arcadia game without the Mission Prep game. A great lesson here. The very next week, all this hype, we beat Arcadia, yeah. Mission Prep comes to Rio Hondo Prep, and Ryan, it wasn't close. They absolutely murdered you guys.
They murdered us, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Mr. Drain had said that was the worst loss in Rio history.
Oh, I could see him saying that.
He was just mad, but I mean, it really was. Rio doesn't really get beat down like that ever.
No, no, not at home. And we had beaten, competed with Mission Prep over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that game, 40 something. I think you guys might have scored 40
We
something to
scored like
7.
14 points or something.
Okay. So, but it was like a 30, 40 point blowout
Yeah,
loss. And
it
it
was
was
bad.
just like, oh man, well, maybe last week's win wasn't such a big deal. And I only
Yeah.
bring up Mission Prep. I think that was the only loss of the year. But as fate
Well,
would have it, did you have another loss?
well, in the regional game,
The region. That's right. That's right.
that team
But as
wasn't even
fate,
good in Mission Prep.
no, Mission Prep was very good. But what the reason we bring them up is that's the team you faced in the finals, and
Right.
thankfully they came to us. The long bus trip from San Luis Obispo. God might have sent a little bit of rain our way too, which helped in the game. You
Oh yeah.
guys changed the 30, 40 point blowout into a victory and a championship. How in the world did that happen?
I will say, the coaching staff, I would say, because we were the guys out there when they killed us, but the coaching staff, I remember we changed our whole, like, not necessarily changed our whole offense, but we had so many different audibles and things to just switch the plays up if a certain lineman was on one side. Our coaches really really had us ready. So that was, I'd say, a big part of it.
Man, changing a 40 point blowout into, I mean, it was months later still, but I remember that game. I was there. Mission Prep brought all of San Luis Obispo with them, and they were pretty loud right up until Nate Tycho broke one for like 80-yard touchdown run. Remember that?
Yeah, that was big time over there on that right sideline.
Yeah, right in front of them, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, who's this team?" And then you guys shut them out. I think in the they remember they scored that
Right before
fluky
half.
play that angered me so much, dude.
That was bad. I remember I slipped and fell from the mud in that
Yeah.
play. That was when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they ran like a little. It was just weird. They ran around in circles and then ended up scoring.
The little Reggie
But
Bush.
Reggie Bush type of play, but shut him out in the second half. You guys, of course, had some huge plays, and you wound up CIF champions. Was it you guys won a championship the year before, Ryan, in 11? Was it sweeter knowing that you beat a team that you weren't supposed to beat in theory,
Oh
the
yeah.
team that had beat you by 40 points weeks before?
Yeah. The feeling I got when we beat them, it was a feeling that I haven't had too often in life, and it was special for sure.
Well, it was the last championship for Rio football up until last season, and so many of us had remembered that magical night at Kare Field there at Rio Hondo Prep, and we're just like, man, when are we going to get to do this again? And last year, what a magical run this team went on, the championship at Santa Monica. It's not to take anything away from your 2012 game, but man, that championship game last year was pretty special.
That I think out of all the Rio games I've been to, that was probably the most special game. It just had a different feel. It was like dark. They had a ton of fans. We had a ton of fans. The last play of the game to win, that
Oh,
that was a sick game.
yeah. I know you and your family great supporters of Rio football. I know you live far away, so it's hard to get out to games. But as you listen to the podcast, you watch that. Does that kind of help when you're not able to get to games?
Oh, yeah, I'm so thankful for this podcast because once you graduate Rio, you can't the best you could do is show up at a game here and there, but having this podcast just keeps all of us in tune and just keeping up. I love it. It's great.
Dialed in. I appreciate that, man. Well, that's what it's all about. Because there is something special here. It's lasted for decades, and we've all been a part of it. So it's cool to kind of bring people in and hear their stories and things. We'll get back to some more football, Ryan. But after you guys win a football championship, you did play in the state regional, which was a brand new thing, and our guys got to do that last year. I remember we went down to San Diego, and you guys played a team down there. Unfortunately, lost, but was it weird playing a game after you had won a championship? It kind of seemed like it was that way a little bit last year for us. So I was kind of like trying to think back to 2012.
Yeah, it was really weird. I'd probably be lying if I said after we won the CIF championship, I was kind of ready for basketball, trying to get a championship there. But going to play that state game, once we got on the bus, you got the feels. You're like, all right, let's do this one more time, maybe two. And then coming up short, I think we lost 28-30. Um, that was a cool game. Like I said earlier, I definitely think Mission Prep was better than that team. But yeah, it was a weird feeling still playing, but it was cool.
Hopefully this year, if again, a lot of ifs here, and we know what the goals are for this team. It's been out in the open. It's all right. Let's sectional, and then hopefully something bigger. So I think having the experience of last year will be beneficial to this team. And I don't know how many of those guys are itching to play basketball like you were. They want to play football as long as possible, but we will bring up basketball now. You guys not only played a CIF championship, won a CIF, then you played. So your basketball season got pushed way back your senior year. So I don't know what that was like. I mean, if you played less games than normal, or what do you remember about your senior year of basketball?
So I can't remember if we ended up playing a game, but like playing our first game of the season before we had to play that state game. I think we might have, but if we didn't, we definitely went into basketball with 0 practices. And yeah, that was interesting for sure. I'd say the hardest thing about that is just getting in the basketball mode. Like the stamina is way different than football.
Way,
So I
way
was
different.
gassed out the first trip down the court.
Well, and everyone at Rio deals with that. It's a good problem to have, right? Getting a late start in basketball, and I think in general, yeah, that's the standard. Really, it's like, all right, let's switch now and put the sneakers on. So,
Yep.
but when did you kind of know your senior year that your team was special in basketball and had potential to go all the way, which you guys did?
Um, I think I always knew because my sophomore year, we were knocking on the door to get to the finals. We went to the semifinals my sophomore year. So then we had pretty much all our returners, minus like Charles Quintero and Nick Perciato, but we had everyone returning my junior year. So I was like, all right, we got the semis. We can get this. We can get this year. Went to quarterfinals, lost, and then senior year, I was not letting that happen again.
So I need to go back in time here, and I believe me and Devin Drain have talked about this a couple times. I believe it was at the semifinals. You guys went out to Desert Chapel.
We did. We were actually blowing those guys out in the semis, and then second half came and we made it interesting.
So I bring this up, I bring this up because Devin, my buddy Bill Ritter, Jordan Ross, that school was a thorn in our side back to back years. Our junior year, we go out there in the quarterfinals and we're up
Outplays.
14. No, way out there, tiny gym, super loud. We're up 14 in the fourth quarter and we lose in triple overtime.
Oh,
We go back the next year to play them again. Redemption. We're gonna get them this time. Quarterfinals again, and we lose again. And that's how our basketball careers ended. So when I was texting Devin, it was like he was freaking out because it was like deja vu all over again. You guys had the huge lead. Here comes Desert Chapel, and there's no way they're gonna do this to us again. So Ryan, thank you so much to you and your teammates for beating those guys. It means so much to the class of 03.
yeah. Yeah, hey, shout out to Christian Tarico. He hit a big three that game, and Nate Tycho hit some big free throws down the line there.
Oh, and poor Mr. Drain having to deal with that stress of
Yeah, he
this
probably
again. I know. Oh, that was a painful one. That was a painful one. So I was like, Desert Chapel, are you serious? Not again. And but anyway, you guys pulled it off, and you guys had to make not quite as long of a drive, but a little drive on a Saturday morning to a school called Modern Day where they were hosting all of the championships, playing in the finals. Man, what was that like?
that was definitely a very different feel again of any Rio game I've played in, just because the amount of people we had there. We've had the stands filled. That was an interesting one. That was fun. I was very nervous. But once I think we won 77-70. It was pretty close game. And that team, I really respected that team because that was a young team. They were like sophomores and freshmen. They're like all underclassmen, and they did a great job. They really did.
They could play. They could
Yeah.
definitely play. You were hands down our best guy and our go-to guy there. I'm sure led scoring that day. Do you remember how many points you had in that championship game?
I actually didn't have a great game. I think I had like 16 points.
Okay, they were keying on you, which rightfully
Yeah.
so. Pretty well coached. I think Hogan had some big plays there. It was really a team effort. But I remember you guys kind of led a lot. They came back, and then we pulled away at the end, and it was like No way. Rio's going to hoist a football championship and a basketball championship in the
Yeah.
same year. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then this is a funny story. I remember after winning that game, we had a baseball game, and Todd Carson, he texted me. He was like, "Are you coming to the game?" And I remember telling him, "I'm going to sit this one out."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little busy. A little
Yeah,
busy. That's fantastic, man. Yeah, we're so proud of you guys because there's been some great basketball teams at Rio, Ryan. You know this, and you know
yeah.
I was really happy for Mr. Drain.
So
Um,
so was I.
I mean, to get that first one finally, it's
Felt like I
just
wanted to win it for him more than us kids.
yeah, man, absolutely, because he loves basketball and he's been an incredible coach. How would you you had the opportunity to play for Mr. Drain in football and basketball. If you could talk to us about him and his leadership and kind of if there was any difference between the way he coached football versus basketball.
Oh, well, yeah, he was a lot more vocal in basketball. He would really get in your grill if he needed to, and he did that to me quite a bit. But in football, he's more of that silent leader. He wasn't as vocal or loud unless he needed to be. Then he would do that, and it was very special playing for Mr. Drain. I have a very special place for him in my heart. He's a great guy. He was a great leader for me, and he's just someone that if you just observe him, you're gonna learn something just by observing him and his mannerisms and his day-to-day life.
I like that. That's very, very well said. I agree. Yes, and we've all had our fair share of Mr. Drain up close and personal, if you know what I mean. But it's like, oh, why did I do that? I just he wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't done that. So, yeah, a special man and someone. Again, very happy to get that championship. I know he wasn't the head coach for you, but he's a head coach now. Mark Carson was that young and vibrant defensive coordinator back in your football days. What do you remember about Mark and kind of and observing him then and how he is now the head coach today?
Mark, I feel like he's always had like the head coach mentality in him. So it was no surprise that he's been as successful as he has been so far. I'm sure he's going to have more championships coming. And he was very special too to me. He was helping me a lot with like my highlight tape to send to colleges and stuff in basketball. He was doing the same for Jake Holguin and Colby Rivera. He was all hands on helping us get to the next level, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, now it's not many guys had done that before, but it's kind of become a thing now,
Yeah.
and social media and videos and that all helps. But yeah, Mark's always been at the forefront of that, even at a younger age. And he was always the guy in football that was like, yeah, let's go, let's elevate this program to the next level. So happy to see him in charge. Great to talk with him every week. You mentioned college, Ryan. You got to definitely carry on your basketball career. Talk to me about your journey really after Rio and kind of the few stops you had along the way in college.
Okay, yeah. So I got recruited to Cal Baptist, and I redshirted there. Their Division II program. They're now Division I in the WAC. Coach Croy and his crew over there have done a great job. It was when he recruited me. That was their first year, and they elevated it just really quickly. So that was a cool experience just to get a watch for that 1 year I was there. Then went to Citrus for 2 years to develop a little more, and I was pretty successful at Citrus, and we had pretty well seasoned my sophomore year. We went to the Sweet 16 in California, and then from there got a scholarship to Oklahoma City University.
Wow, what was I'm sure with Citrus, Coach Croy, who had a history there, probably assisted, kind of thinking that was a good place for you. How did Oklahoma City come about? Because you only get the 2 years at JC, and then did you have a lot of offers, a lot of different phone calls, or did that kind of come out of nowhere?
So I did have a lot of Division II offers, and pretty much half the teams in the Pac West, which is the conference CBU is in, had offered me, and then my teammate committed to Colorado State Pueblo, who then recruited me as well. So I committed there, and then had some issues with the credits transferring over to the NCAA institutions, and that coach who recruited me to Colorado State Pueblo was a good enough of a person to get me in contact with Oklahoma City University.
Wow. And so Oklahoma City, that is well, we'll say it's not California. It is very, very different.
Yeah.
What I'm sure different once you arrive. You've traveled on summer trips and things, so you kind of know what different regions of the country are like. When you got the call, were you kind of like Oklahoma? I don't know if I want to go there, or were you just like, oh man, yes, I'm in. Where do you, when's my flight?
So I kind of knew I was going to take it because the offer, you can't pass on an offer like that. But
No.
I was definitely nervous. And I remember telling my mom, like, dude, mom, I don't know if I'm trying to go to Oklahoma. But she kind of just motivated me it's going to pay out and it'll be worth it, which it was. So, like I said, that place was very special to me. I've been lucky. Yeah. Every program I've been in has been good programs, starting with Rio. So,
Fantastic. And with ties to the Clark family, I mean, I'm sure they were saying, Oklahoma, beautiful place. Get on out there. We'll
yeah,
come visit, right?
they came out and saw me once. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Big Sooner fans, and of course the family history there. Well, actually, my grandmother's side has some Oklahoma connections too. So,
Okay.
if you could, I mean, hot and humid, I'm sure, quite a bit. What was the biggest change, or was it something as simple as missing like In-N-Out Burger or something, as far as being away from home that long?
In and Out, that was a big one. I'm not even joking. The second I got off the plane, I went straight to In and Out. And yeah, it was definitely a little culture shock a little bit, but after the first semester, I kind of found my spot in Oklahoma, and I root for this. I mean, I'm a USC fan, but I like to see Oklahoma do good just because I went out there for a couple years.
Oh, I get that. I get that absolutely. Being around it a couple years and being a part of the state, yeah, definitely. So, I haven't been in a while, but
I'm
be out
actually
there.
going on. I'll be out there on Saturday, actually.
Oh, okay, you going to the game?
I'm not. I'm just visiting the college and some old friends.
Oh, okay, isn't Red River this weekend, or is it next weekend?
It's the 12th.
It is this. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So we are actually recording this before the during the bye week. So that is this upcoming Saturday, Red River. Cool, man. That's got to be a fun time just to be in the state during that big
Oh yeah,
game.
that'll be cool. I'm sure the city will be popping.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Paul Clark, I talked to him a lot. Just about Rio football and this and that. He was ecstatic about having you come on the podcast. We got Paul out to the Torrance game. I know he's fiery there on the sideline. Love having him out there. Talk to me, man, about the Clark family. I got to play for Pete Clark in Kare, his 1 year coaching the Gators. I know you guys are all look at. I have so many Atlantic Pirates on this
I
podcast.
knew you were gonna
It's
say that.
driving me crazy. You're all good guys, but you're just that Atlantic blue and gold drives me nuts.
You're a
Anyway.
Gator guy, right?
Gators, that's right. I
Gator.
told Paul today, I go, Gators eat pirates. He goes, no, they don't. He says, no, they don't. Pirates get gator skin boots and all this and that. So
Yeah.
it's all fun and games with those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, Pete and Paul obviously they're my cousins. Pete coached me. He was my first coach. Um, Words can't express how much Pete means to me. Don't keep in contact as much as we should, but yeah, great role model he was for me and still is really. And then Paul is a great athlete, great cousin. Love that guy. He'll definitely knows how to make you laugh.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
And we mentioned your brother Jason. I know Jason, a little older than you, right? But a great athlete himself. And then didn't he go into a firefighting?
Yeah, so he's a firefighter in Arcadia actually. So his
Okay.
whole life's in Arcadia from Rio
Wow, look
Hondo
at that
Prep to
guy. And then
firefighting.
I know he was coaching with the varsity football program a few years ago until kind of the firefighting kind of took precedence for all that.
Yeah, he was on the sidelines there, coaching up, I think like special teams or something,
Hmm.
or defensive back, something like that. He was doing something out there.
Yeah, yeah, he did a great job there for Coach Carson.
Yeah,
And a couple weeks ago, with all the fires and everything, did he have to go up into the hills and fight all
yeah,
that stuff?
yeah. So he
Man,
went up north for a bit, and then he was over at the Line Fire in San Bernardino Mountains for a little bit, and then those are the two that he fought.
wow. How about that, dude? How about the Mount Care situation? How that was just. How about
That is
that miracle,
incredible.
man?
That is incredible. And when stuff like that happens, it's just you can't help but just smile.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt, man. And Mount. You mentioned Care and Mount Care, like. those are special places, special memories. I remember as a kid, just not only going to Mount Care, but just playing ball as a young guy. There was no better place to be on a Saturday than
Mhm.
Arcadia or Wingate. I mean, you started at a young age, probably second grade or
No, I
kindergarten.
started at kindergarten. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So you had Pete Clark. Who were some of your other leaders in Cary Youth League?
so I had Pete Clark and then Renzo, I think it was his assistant. I had Carlos Ortega, who was a really good coach of mine. Him and I became pretty close. And then anyone else? I think that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlos had me for a minute.
Okay. No, that's good stuff, man. Now what are you doing these days, Ryan? Down out there in the Temecula area?
So I live in Temecula, I work from home, but we're located in Marietta. It's called Oak Grove Center, and I'm a behavioral specialist. We basically just help families and children get resources that they need in the community to help them maximize their full potential and try to keep them out of trouble because they've got some interesting stories with these kids.
Oh man, I bet. How'd you get involved in that line of work?
I knew I had a thing to want to work with kids, and that's obviously because of Rio molded me to be that way. And it was rewarding and just giving back because I like you just said, all the leaders I had,
Mm.
I want to, even if it's just one, two kids, I want to have one or two kids be able to just look back when they're 30 years old and say, you know what, Ryan was he really helped me and my family and was a great guy, just like I could do, talking about Mr. Drain, Todd Carson, my cousins, all the great people at Rio.
Wow, that's interesting. And I think you mentioned to me as behavioral health specialist, just again help, and it's all focused, specialized on specifically kids and kind of
Yeah,
their
at
situations.
risk youth is what it's pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
and their situations. A lot of them have mental health issues, and their parents, or a lot of them have mental health issues as well.
Wow. Wow. So, and you work from home. So it's not your own business, or is it kind of
So
affiliated with
it's
something?
not my own business. It's with Oak Grove Center. So I just do meetings and stuff through Zoom like we're doing now, and then I'll go to a kid's I'll go to their school or their home and just have a little session with them for about an hour.
So I got to ask this because, we know what police officers they got to deal with, firefighters they got to deal with. Sometimes we don't think about uh, the things that someone in your position has to deal with. Is it hard kind of on a daily basis, maybe hard on your heart, even just kind of like seeing kids in very difficult situations, or are you just more fueled about helping and assisting where you try to put that stuff aside? It's gotta wear on you. I mean, as just a
Yeah.
human being.
So I would say when I first started it was I was like really like shocked. I was like, man, these people are going through some stuff, and like I was just makes you so grateful for your own life. But as time goes on, you kind of just try to block that out and just really try to help the family. And I've been pretty better at like handling not getting too attached to them.
No, I got you, man. Well, God bless you. That sounds like well, the Lord's work indeed. And man, I don't know if I could have the temperament or the just the stomach for some of that stuff, because I do know some people that deal in mental health and things, especially for kids. So man, definitely appreciate your work, and
Thank you.
it sounds like it's very fulfilling for you as well.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Definitely. And so you want to keep it going for some
I'll
time,
do this
probably.
for a bit, not forever, but I'll do it for, as long as till I burn out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Well, I hope Ryan, we get. I hope we're not on the road too much, but last year was a lot. Maybe we'll get a game or two down your way in the playoffs or whenever, just to.
Well, wherever the games are in the playoffs, I'm going to a playoff game, and then I'm definitely going to the championship game.
Love it. Oh, you hear that? You hear that, guys? He's
Yep.
got his plans made for you. That's a challenge to the boys out there. I love it, man. That's what I like at this time of year as it gets into league play, and it's playoff time. Literally, like you can't lose anything. So no, it's cool. We'll be seeing you out there and get our
For
little
sure.
alumni section going.
Oh yeah.
Ryan, if you could, as we wrap up here, talk to me about your Rio Hondo experience. I know the great athletics you participated in, but one theme for me on this podcast is just always telling people how great the overall experience is. I don't know if you were a choir or band guy or drama guy or academics guy, but like it or not, you do all those things at Rio on top of sports. So what was your overall Rio experience like?
The Rio experience is the best experience for one. and it's not just athletics. Like we're here talking about basketball and football and all the sports, but that's just a little bit of it. There's coaching, which is awesome. I think coaching is so awesome for young men. Coaching, just all the going across the country, going to other countries, just the camaraderie between your fellow classmates and teammates is really, and I know people say this a lot, but it's true. There's nothing like it, nothing like the Rio experience in the world.
Man, I love it. That's great stuff. And here we are, 10 years apart in age, class of '03, class of 13, but and we haven't chatted a ton over the years, but here we are. It feels like the Rio connection, right? If you meet kind of this a Rio alumni, it could be 10, 20 years apart. I don't know, like me and Paul Clark become very good friends. Like it's just it kind of brings you together, and it's just like if you know a Rio guy, you kind of know what you're getting, right?
Yep, for sure. You're gonna get it. A good man, most likely.
I love it, man. Hey, thank you for that and for sharing your experiences. And we talked about all the Rio in general. Now I want similar question, but Rio football. I believe it's the best kept secret out there. 15 championships speaks for itself. Other title game appearances. Rio football is special. It's my passion in life to get it out to the masses to hear the story. If you could sum up Rio Hondo Prep football and why it is so special.
Rio Hondo Prep football. It is special because no matter the size of our team, the size of the other team, the athletes they have, the athletes we have. If the other team has way more athletes than we do, it's no problem. We have more heart, we have better coaches, and heart and good coaching goes a long way.
Wow, that might be a title for something somewhere down the road. That's heart and good coaching goes a long way. I couldn't sum it up better myself. Ryan Wiley, appreciate you, man. Two-time football champion, first basketball championship in school history. Thanks for those great memories, and also for what you do now, man, as an occupation. That really does mean a lot that you're carrying on the Rio tradition of service.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I appreciate you for having me on here.
Hey, you got it, man. We'll see you at a football game soon. Nice little
Sure.
hug and a high five, and let's go, man. It's playoff time soon.
Let's go, baby.
All right, go Real, Ryan. See you soon, man.
See ya.
Thanks so much, Ryan Wiley, for coming on the podcast, sharing some great memories. Man, some great stuff there, and just appreciate again what he does for a living these days, working with kids. Very, very, just speaks volumes about his character and where he came from, Rio Hondo Prep, and again, that commitment to serving others is a wonderful thing. So Ryan was so much fun to watch on the basketball court. If he comes to a Rio game, you definitely can't miss him. He's 6'7" now. Just a tall dude. We played them in the alumni game. You always play basketball, the alumni game, the team that was 10 years prior to you. I think he ran me over one time trying to take a charge like I used to do. Probably hurt myself or whatever. I think I got the call, which was my big contribution. But Ryan Wiley, powerful guy. He could get to the basket, throw it down, dunking on people, Pauly, hopefully, and all kinds of teams, and could shoot from deep. He was just a solid basketball player. And football-wise, man, you throw it up to him, he was going to bring it down. Some great video of that stuff too. So great teams there in 2011, 2012, as far as football goes. And the last team that won a championship at Rio and then obviously went into the state regional game like our team did last year. So definitely some significance and some tie-ins there. I do want to look briefly at our opponent this week for the homecoming game, the Viewpoint Patriots. Guys, I want to tell you off the bat, this team is 5-2, and in a lot of years prior, their record wasn't as good. But I am looking at their schedule right now. Let's see if I can bring you guys on board without messing this up, of course. But whoops, we don't want that. I should probably pause the recording while I do these things so I don't mess things up. But let's bring on the screen here. Share the sound. We don't need that. Boom. Here we are. Viewpoint Patriots, as we've done in the past, looking at their record. 5-2 overall. 2-0 at home, 2-2 away, and 1-0 on a neutral field. Not sure where that was. They opened the season with a game against Kauai, looks like. Won that game 14-13. Maybe a game. Let's see. Was it at Hawaii? Yeah, Kauai is from Lithui, Hawaii. So that's pretty cool to play a team from Hawaii. I'm not sure if that was it looks like was that a home game? I think it was a home game for them. So team from Hawaii comes out and plays the Viewpoint Patriots 14-13. Probably hot there in the middle of August. Bodies dropping probably in a close game from cramps and things. But I won't speculate too much. A 1 point win over a team from Hawaii to start the season, and then a 38-point win over California City in their second game of the year. Now we go into the next 2 weeks, which is where their two losses came from in consecutive weeks. A 55-6 drubbing by Santa Paula, pretty good football program, and then a 38-7 loss to Dos Pueblos. Both of those, I might add, on the road. So that is where their losses come from. This is in the middle of a 3-game road trip, really. They came back, bounced backs against Carpinteria, 43-20. I don't know too much about Carpinteria, although I thought they had a pretty decent football program over the years. So to put up 43 on Carpinteria is pretty good. To bounce back, Bourbon Day Jesuit, a 2-0 score, which is likely a forfeit. And then Nordhoff, it says here on the Max Preps, 4-0. I don't think that's got to be a typo of some kind. I think I typed on the box score earlier. So 4-0. They don't give you any information there. So maybe that was a forfeit too. So 5-2 on the field. They have been victorious at least 4 of those games, maybe only 3 of those games, honestly, if the last 2 were in fact forfeits. But they are rather fresh, of course, having the bye week the same week we did, that October 11th. So they'll be ready, man. And I got to tell you, as far as stats go, I don't know if they have many stats here. It looks like, okay, rushing yards per game. Kenyon Ebola Gordon with 70 rushing yards a game, which wasn't that much. Total touchdowns. Sophomore wide receiver Darren Haggerty has four total touchdowns. Logan Price as a quarterback, 3 total touchdowns, and Jaden Lemons, a running back, 3 total touchdowns. So those are kind of their guys there as far as stat leaders. Haggerty, let's type on him there. Where's number 1? And let's see, one more guy we'll click on, maybe 2. One more guy. That's their like I said, their wide receiver who leads them in touchdowns. And then Logan Price, their quarterback. Looks like he wears number 2. And you'll know him obviously being the quarterback. Oh, what did we do here? We got ads going for Max Prep sometimes. But anyway, won't go into too much great detail because I don't know a ton about this team. It does look like, as far as their team stats, that's probably a better thing there. 36 overall, 36 completions out of 67 pass attempts. They've thrown for 529 yards this year, and rushing, they have rushed for 874 yards. So rather balanced attack if you look at just numbers there for the Patriots. And it seemed like in years prior, past few years, they were trying to throw it a little bit too much than they were probably able to do. So it looks like they found some balance there with their team. And 5-2, hey, that is, you are what you are, what your record says you are. And sometimes there are pretenders out there, but I think the Viewpoint Patriots will be ready to come take that long trip from Calabasas to Kare Park in Irwindale, and we'll be ready for a fight. So the Cares need to be ready as well. Both teams well rested, having the same bye week. And both, I'm sure, looking to take on Brentwood as well. But first things first, Viewpoint against Rio Hondo Prep this Friday night at Kare Park in Irwindale. Be there and get there early. It'll be a huge crowd, I'm sure. I'm not sure again what the food situation will be, but I'm sure there'll be something going. You alumni out there, remember the tri-tip cooking there on the infield on field 1 at Kare Field during the JV game? Heck, they'd start that thing at lunchtime, really, and that tri-tip smoke coming in during the game, and JVs and the varsity. Oh, special memories for homecoming there. And then the girls all lined up, dolled up and ready to go for their homecoming halftime show and everything. Homecoming special at Rio. And I don't know what the theme is. Again, I'll try to communicate all this on social media. Be sure to keep an eye out for all that stuff. But Viewpoint Patriots, 5-2. 2 losses did come on the road. and at least one of those wins is a forfeit. It appears, maybe two indeed. So if the last two games, as listed there on Max Preps, were in fact forfeits, a 2-0 is definitely a forfeit. 4-0, I don't know if that's a typo or a forfeit, but if that's the case, then they've had a lot of time off as far as being on the field. So 3, possibly 4 weeks of non-football, being hungry and ready for Rio Hondo Prep. That could be a factor. That's all I'm saying. Kare's better come ready to play and handle business, because the Patriots would love nothing better than to spoil Rio Hondo Prep's homecoming, like a few teams have done in the past. That will wrap up today's show. I think briefly I will say about a rule situation. If you noticed a couple weeks ago, we did in fact have, probably you guys didn't notice, but 4 officials versus 5 officials. So that occurred up there in the Bay Area at Kings Academy. That is not a typical thing. That happens generally when there's a big, large amount of football games on a Friday night, where the assigner will be like, hey, we can only get 4 officials out to some of these schools. So that's why the smaller schools, unfortunately, get the 4 officials, or the officials, they will. In previous years where I officiated, we would send 4 officials to schools maybe that typically ran the ball a lot. And I don't know if they thought I had that much, probably not, but it worked out for us here up there at the Kings Academy. So Rio Hondo did only have 4 officials, but in talking to Coach Carson, so not really a rule today, just kind of an observation really from a couple weeks ago. Coach Carson, he turned to me during the game. He said, I'd rather play on Friday nights with 4 officials than Thursdays or Saturdays with 5. Now, you say that now, if a big play happened that really hurts you, where you needed that 5th official who plays in the back judge, he's the back judge out there with who's like a free safety kind of a thing, keeping the time, counting the defense, and helping in the kicking game. You could get hurt if hurt as far as the game goes, losing a tough call or something. But some of you guys, I'm sure, are like 5 guys, 4 guys, they can't see anything anyway. It doesn't matter. But anyway, that was just an observation from a couple weeks ago up at Kings Academy. We only had the 4 officials, but we should have 5 going forward, especially in league play and, of course, in the playoffs. The goal, I will say right now, is to get to those rounds where you have 7 officials, if you know what I mean. Championship games, state regionals and things. I think they even have 7 in the semifinals now, maybe just the section finals, but that's the goal. We've played with 4 officials. We played with 5 officials. JV games, junior high games, they might have 3 or 4 officials. The goal is to play where we have 7 officials. And no, I'm not talking about our guys playing college football. I'm talking about our guys playing in a championship game, much like last year or beyond that. Thanks again, Ryan Wiley. That will wrap up today's show. Week 8 is here. League play is here. I'm going to say it, man. The playoffs are here. They start this week, and I hope you guys are ready to go here on the Charge to Keep podcast. Happy homecoming. We'll see you out there on Friday night. And as always, guys, your friendly reminder, whether it to be humble in victory or gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.